Hi guys, welcome back TV Spoilers, Monday, February 16th. Today I'm going to reveal to you about Dominic's condition, which is becoming a major concern for Devin and Abby. Therapy for Dominic is becoming a headache for Abby and Devin. Abby and Devin take Dominic to see a child psychologist to help him overcome his trauma. During a therapy session, the specialist suggests that Dominic facing Mariah in a controlled environment might be helpful. However, as soon as Mariah enters the room, Dominic starts gasping for breath, trembling, and throwing things, showing even greater fear than expected. Therapy for Dominic, which Abby and Devin had initially considered a last resort, is becoming more of a labyrinth than a straight path to peace. After everything that had happened recently in Genoa City, with the cracks in family spreading like wildfire, Abby and Devin could no longer afford to believe the easy, comforting words like, "Children will forget." Dominic didn't forget. He carried the fear in his body, in his breath, in his startled reflexes, in the way his eyes unconsciously sought refuge when something triggered a memory unseen by adults. Abby understood this in her own way, because she had faced countless choices that were never truly right, protecting her child by avoiding everything that could hurt him, or healing him by forcing him to confront what had caused his breakdown. Devin understood it too, but in a different way. He saw Dominic as the most vulnerable part of himself, something he couldn't control with reason or his usual self-confidence. Both parents took Dominic to see a child psychologist with a nearly desperate hope. Please help their son become a real child again, instead of a child living as if always on guard. Even the moment she stepped into the clinic, Abby felt her heart sink. The room was so clean, so bright, so safe in a textbook way, while what they were up against was a storm deep within a child's memory and nervous system. Dominic didn't cry, scream, or resist at first, and that frightened Abby even more. He was silent, clinging to Abby like a shadow, his small hands gripping her shirt as if letting go would cause the world to collapse. Devin sat beside them, trying to remain calm, trying to appear strong for Dominic to lean on, but he was too unsteady by that silence. The expert observed meticulously, not rushing to ask questions, not pressuring Dominic to recount, because they knew that with trauma, sometimes the more you try to directly address the story, the more violently the body reacts. The doctor began with seemingly small details. Dominic's breathing, the way he looked around the room, the way his shoulder tensed at the sound in the hallway, the way he reacted to a nearby toy. Abby looked at each detail as if looking at a report about her son that she had never read. And the more she read, the more pain she felt. Devin felt the same, but his pain was suppressed, a clenched jaw, telling himself they had to find a way to fix everything, even though he knew this wasn't something that could be fixed by willpower. The expert gradually arrived at a conclusion that filled both Abby and Devin with hope and fear. Dominic wasn't just afraid of one situation. He seemed afraid of a face, a specific presence, and that fear had become a survival reflex. When the doctor suggests that a controlled confrontation with Mariah in a safe environment might be helpful, Abby almost stopped breathing. The thought struck her like a cold wind. To heal, she had to bring the source of the pain right in front of her child. She didn't simply hate Mariah. Abby couldn't. In Genoa City, things were rarely black or white, and Abby understood that Mariah had entered this disaster with the intention of creating it. But the love for someone who had once been part of the family, once part of the close circle, couldn't outweigh her protective instincts. Abby was torn between two opposing emotions. On one side, understanding and compassion for Mariah, and on the other, a quiet anger at some unintentional mistake or oversight that had caused Dominic to harbor this fear. Devin wasn't much better. He knew that if Dominic's trauma was linked to Mariah, then avoiding it forever would only allow the fear to grow into a forbidden zone, and Dominic's life and the child would grow up with dark corners that no one dared to touch. But confronting it too early, too forcefully, could push the child into deeper abysses. The expert didn't promise a miracle, only a strategy. The space had to be controlled. The duration had to be short. Dominic had to have the right to stop, and Abby and Devin had to be present as safety anchors. It sounded reasonable, but Abby still felt it was like signing a commitment that she would try to put her child in dangerous situations in hope that she would learn not to be afraid anymore.